Hi, welcome back to OD YouTube channel. My name is Paulo and I'm here again for another Diamine Inkvent Calendar Black Edition 2024 ink, and today is the 4th, so here it is. I don't know if you can see it. Let's put it like that. So it's this ink window that we are going to open today. So let's see. And it looks like Bordeaux ink, burgundy ink, kind of a wine color by the label. So it's called, please focus, Forest Gateau. Gateau is cake. And it is a scented ink. So I'm quite interested in knowing what this smells like. So just stay there and I'll be back in a moment to show it to you, although I'll not be able to show you the scent it has. So I'll be right back. So let's go for this swatch. I smell this ink and it smells really nicely, but I cannot really tell which kind of smell it has. It smells like flowers, maybe roses. I cannot completely identify the smell, although it is familiar to me. I would say roses and something else. And let's see how these will behave. This is another, I would say, kind of dark wine color, and I would say it looks nice or okay, as you prefer. It depends if you like this kind of color or not. One thing that I've noticed here right now is that it's feathering, and it's not that. I know there's a lot of ink in these puddles for the swatches, but I usually don't have that on the Rhodia paper, on these swatches that I make, so there is something different about it. I have just a little leaf there, kind of a sticker release sheet, and you see, it really puddled and made this through. This is very wet, as you can see, but I always do it like that, and maybe this can be a problematic ink for some papers, but that's what we are about to test. So I'll be right back with the rest of the video. So let's see how this now dry swatch works. So it is quite nice. It has a very rich burgundy color. It still has some scent when dry. It bleeded a lot, or bled a lot, I'm not sure how to say that, but it is an interesting color, and I think in the end that's what you take more than the scent of an ink on paper, because on long run they never keep the scent forever. So let's see how this compares with other swatches. It is kind of plain, not much shading, at least in the swatch. I have here, I don't have many that are comparable. Actually, I don't think I have any that is really comparable. I have here the Diamine Ox Blood, but this has a more purplish color to it, not that dried blood color. The Gentle Okuyama is more similar to that one, but with a green sheen. I also have here the mulled wine from the Inkvent 2019, and now this one has more violet or more pink, but it's really more on the pink side than on the violet side. And then the most similar one I have is this one. Not because of the base color, which is more pinkish, but when we combine the base color with the sheen, with the shimmer, it gets more similar. This is the 2021 calendar, all the best. I don't really have any that is really comparable with this color. This is a burgundy color, but more on the purple side. I think it's quite nice. Now for the chromatography, we have this. So this is an ink that doesn't have the shimmer or anything like that, but it has some gray base. So we would say it is kind of water resistant on that part, but we'll see that later. Then the ink really washes away and you have this reddish color with some blue, which is kind coherent with what you see when you look at the swatch. Now we will look at the pens that I chose for this video, and I have two pens here. This one is a pen that I'm not very comfortable with every time, because this is a platinum pocket pen. It is a pink pen, but the nib is very, 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 very dry. It's kind of an extra fine nib, and it's really, really dry. It's like the tines are much put together. I tried many times to take them a little bit apart, but I cannot really do that. I was not successful, and it is really a dry ink, a dry pen, so you'll see that. It is cartridge pen, nice pocket pen, I would say, but the nib is not my favorite, I need to confess. And I also have here the pen. This is not mine, it is on loan. This is the Pilot Costume, sorry, I always forget the name, 823 in amber color. This is from my friend Luis. I have this pen as a loan, so just I can make a couple of videos with it, because this is not my kind of favorite pen. For this model I prefer the Pilot Costume 743, and so it's different. It's very similar, but I prefer the other one. So this one has a broad nib made of gold. It is a vacuum filler pen. The platinum, I didn't show you the nib exactly. It has a gold nib also. So how does the ink perform on paper? We have here two papers. As we can see, the ink is very, the line is very thin with the platinum pen. I like the color a lot, both with the finer, which goes more onto the rose side. It gets more similar with that wilted rose ink I showed you before, and it's kind of nice. But with the 823 with the broad nib, you have also some shading. Of course, there is bleed through mostly on the Pilot 823, but even with an extra fine platinum pens, you can see on the other side of the page. When we look at the Oxford Optic paper, of course it's different. It looks like this pen writes a little worse, because the paper is it seems like coated, so it doesn't absorb the ink that much, but you can see some shading even with the platinum, and more shading obviously with the Pilot Costume 823. On the other side it is perfect. There is no defects of the ink with this paper. Now with the copy paper, the Navigator copy paper, 80 grams per square meter, you can see there is a little bit of feathering. It's not really big feathering, but you can see this is not well defined, the edges of the letters. The shading is not that visible as usual in this paper. You can see but it looks a little bit lighter, but it's not, the shading is not visible, and on the other side it is all bleed through. And now let's go for the final part where I'll show you how the ink performs on the Rhodia dot pad. So what we have here is the ink written with the Platinum Pocket pen. I made the usual line. So to dry with this pen I got around 15 seconds, but we have to say that this pen it's very dry. So if I used the Pilot, maybe it had more ink, but I always do this test with the finer pen I'm using, so that's what we get. I cannot afford to ink all pens with each ink with all nib sizes. So this is what we get. I think the color is very nice again, but here it performs as in the Oxford optic paper. And here we have the writing sample. The ink is, it's not a waterproof, but it's kind of a water resistant ink, in some places more than others, because you see that same gray line you see here, you can see there on these loops. So the pink and all that color washes away, but you can see the gray part. So if your writing gets wet, maybe you can recover it and write again over it, because it's still visible with a faint gray color, but faint but strong enough to be able to be seen. So let's just go for the usual fox thing. So the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. You see the pen is not really skipping, but when I have very light pressure it almost lays no ink down. And now with the Pilot and the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So you can see two really different kinds of writing with the same ink. The ink looks very different with both with these different pens. I usually get this kind of result because I prefer fine or extra fine nibs. So this is all for today. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank Appelboom for sending me the calendar for review, and we will meet again tomorrow for another video of another Inkvent Calendar 2024 ink. Bye!